Anime, fall season, quick hits, let's do it. Negative Positive Angler, or Nega Posi Angler, is a slice of life show about fishing. I'll give most realistic shows with adult casts a shot because there are precious few of them in the anime seasonal landscape. But this one doesn't really work because it feels more like what a teenager thinks an adult's life would be, which is just not interesting to me. Tying the Knot with an Amagami Sister is about an exchange student now living and working at a shrine, where three buxom sisters await his horny presence and obviously shenanigans ensue. The first couple of minutes of the show are honestly pretty beautiful before the harem show starts doing harem show stuff. And if this is your bag, then great, it's just not mine. If My Wife Became an Elementary School Student, or Sumasho, is about a father whose dead wife reincarnates as an elementary school student. This show had pretty negative perceptions before the first episode aired, with understandable concerns about sexualizing children. I have no idea if that actually happens because I stopped watching after the first 10 minutes of this show. It actually starts out okay with a fun up-style montage about how our two central romantic leads get together. But as soon as the wife comes back, all the goodwill that this show builds up in its first few minutes just disappears. I think there's a world where a show like this one could work, but I'm not giving this one a chance. 365 Days Until the Wedding is about two socially awkward adults who work at a Japanese tourist agency. They decide to get married to avoid their company's policy of sending a single worker to their newly opened Alaska branch. It's a fun and funny premise, and I wish the chemistry between our two leads was a bit better. So much so that I actually gave this show 2 episodes to try to impress me, but it never quite did. Despite being adults, our two leads never actually act like them, instead coming off as overgrown adolescents. And that might be part of the charm for a younger audience, but I was hoping for something a bit more relatable to my life. I appreciate the effort, and I'm sure there are some people that like it, but this just isn't it for me. The Stories of Girls Who Couldn't Be Magicians, or Mahonare, is about our gallant hero Kurumi in her quest to become a magician. This show is a clear ripoff of Little Witch Academia, which itself is a bit of a ripoff of Harry Potter. But just because it's a ripoff doesn't mean it isn't good. I really like the pastel backgrounds and the bonkers costume design. The show is just really pretty and peaceful to look at. And that's not entirely unexpected for a show that's targeted for small children. But unfortunately, that's the reason why I dropped it after a couple of episodes. Not because it's bad, but because I found it difficult to get motivated to watch a kid's show week after week. Ranma 1/2 is a reboot of the classic show based off the manga by Rumiko Takahashi, about 2 high school-aged martial arts students who are betrothed by their families. But that's before either family finds out that the boy, Ranma, turns into a girl when exposed to cold water, but can turn back into a boy when exposed to warm water. I've been kind of mixed on the classic reboots that we've been getting the past few years. I quite liked the Fruits Baskets reboot, but didn't really care for the Rurouni Kenshin reboot. And I especially didn't care for the Urusei Yatsura reboot, which made me a bit skeptical about another Takahashi reboot. But I think I like Ranma 1/2 a little bit more. Maybe it's because of the interesting gender and queer stuff that comes out of this, or because I'm interested to see how a show this old can hold up. Much like Mahonare, however, I'm having a tough time getting invested in watching this show week after week. And so it might be a drop candidate, though I'm still watching it for now. Dandadan features our 2 high school heroes Momo and Ken. Momo, a sharp-tongued gyaru who has developed a sincere appreciation for ghosts, and Ken, a social outcast who's always dreamt of meeting aliens, both forming an unlikely tandem when their strange fascinations turn into world-bending phenomena. Dandadan is Science Saru's latest epic, and it is indeed epic. This show is perfectly formulated for someone who was raised on Adult Swim, and it's going to be a bunch of 14-year-old boys' favorite show of the year. And it makes sense, because even if this is a premise I don't really care for, Dandadan does enough ballsy and interesting things to keep my attention week after week. I wouldn't rate it as highly as some of Yuasa's best work, but I do think it's better than a lot of Science Saru's most recent work, most especially Sunny Boy or Heike Monogatari. And this has a chance to be remembered as the most stunning and impactful show of 2024. How I Accidentally Attended an All-Guys Mixer is about 3 college-aged boys who attend a mixer with 3 women who cross-dress for their jobs as male bar attendants. It's a bit of a reverse Ouran High School Host Club, except this features adults that can make adult decisions and do adult things. And as someone who's very into people blurring gender roles, yeah, I quite like this show. But I also feel conflicted about how this show plays with gender in similar ways as shows that I don't like. But maybe I'll explore that in a later video. This show is low stakes, exceedingly cute, and just a really fun time. It's the type of queer media that so far doesn't have any grand theories or ideas about queerness, which is the type of show that I am always searching for. We absolutely deserve a show like this, though I am anticipating for it to disappoint me in some way down the line. And my favorite show of the season so far, and what will likely end up as my favorite show of the season, is Ao no Hako, or Blue Box. Blue Box features our high school love interests, Jinatsu and Daiki. Jinatsu as a phenom girls basketball player, and Daiki as a younger and slightly less impressive badminton player, both of whom inspire the other to reach the top in their respective sports. This is a show that pays sincere homage to all the sports-flavored rom-coms that came before it, and honestly doesn't do that much different than any of them. But what it lacks in originality, it makes up for in spades with competence. This show is beautiful and stunning and gorgeous and just precious to look at. Our characters are warm and vibrant, the romantic drama feels real and heavy, and it makes me immediately root for our main two to get together. Blue Box gives me Chihaya Furu vibes, even though I think this is so far quite a bit better than Chihaya Furu. In fact, I think Blue Box has the potential to be my favorite sports-flavored rom-com of all time. Understandably, this is a niche genre whose list is occupied almost entirely by stories adapted by Adachi Mitsuru manga. But considering Adachi's Cross Game is one of my favorite shows of all time, yeah, Blue Box has a pretty high ceiling. I don't think it's likely that I'm going to publish a full season review like I did for the previous 3 seasons this year, if only because by the end of this season I'm going to be working on a full year retrospective. So instead, I'll just probably roll the most important shows from this season into that video, and I have a good feeling that at least a couple shows from this season will end up in that video. Maybe just Blue Box though. I don't know, we'll see.